Hello everyone, it's Mark again. Last time we were talking about the different types of accesses that you have in dialysis. Tonight, I think I'm going to give you a walkthrough of how a treatment is started from you getting there to the actual start and end of the treatment. So, if you're able, you could drive yourself or have a family member drive you. There's transportation. I've heard horror stories about the transportation taking hours. So if you could find another way is a way to do it. The best way, or at least for me the best way, is I drive myself. Unless I'm feeling yucky or I just got out of the hospital or something. Then I'll see if my wife can bring me and I'll take an Uber home. All right, so you arrive at the center and you go inside, and at my center I have to ring a bell for them to unlock the door and to let me come into the treatment floor. And then when I get into the treatment floor, first thing that I do is drop off my stuff. Like this time of year, I got a hat and I got a blanket, sometimes gloves, because dialysis is cold. They're taking blood out of you and putting it back in, and usually you're chilly. But anyway, drop off my stuff, and then they have a scale that's in the floor. I walk over to the scale, make sure I took everything out, the keys and phone out of my pockets, because you're looking to get an accurate weight. And then you weigh yourself, and they don't have anything to write it down on, so I just keep it in my memory. It keeps me sharp, I guess. Walk back over, go sit in my chair, and one of the staff members, a technician or nurse, will come over and ask me for my weight. I give them my weight, and then they either say, "Oh, really good," because I didn't gain a whole lot of weight in between treatments, or they say, "Mark, what are you doing?" And then I gained a little too much fluid in between treatments. I'm going to sit back in the chair. They're going to put a blood pressure cuff on my non-access arm, because remember, we do not use an access arm for anything. The only thing it gets used for is for dialysis staff to stick it to start dialysis. So anyway, take your blood pressure, and then they're going to put some information into the computer, this prescription for the dialysis treatment. And I forgot, let me back up. Come in, drop off my stuff, go to the scale and get weighed, and then right next to it kind of is a sink for me to wash my access arm. I forgot that. So you don't want an infection, so you scrub it up real good with soap and water, and then you go over to your chair, sit down, and do the rest. So after they take the blood pressure, then either that person or another person will come over, and they're going to start prepping your arm or your access for dialysis. So we'll start off now with the fistula and the graft, which are both of them get stuck with needles. So usually they have a little pack made up with all the stuff in it that they're going to use. And then they'll open it up and they'll unwrap the two needles, set them down on there, put they call it a chuck, but it's just a little underpad underneath the U, just in case you dribble a little blood. And if they make a mess with some stuff too. So they're gonna, obviously with gloves, they'll have gloves. Sometimes, depending upon, we just got done COVID like a couple years ago, and you had to wear a mask. Sometimes, if there's flu around or COVID in the facility, then they'll be wearing a mask. But anyway, they're gonna scrub up your access. Then they're gonna kind of feel around on it if it's in your arm, my arm, and they want to make sure that they can feel. It's called a bruit. And then if they can't feel the bruit, which is the pulse in there, then they'll get a stethoscope and have to listen to it to see if they can hear. It's called a thrill. If they can't find either one of those, they're going to go get the charge nurse. And then work on figuring out what we're going to do to get the access probably declotted. But anyway, after they feel it, they make sure that it's still viable and pulsing. They're gonna go and wipe it off again, and then they're gonna take a needle, and then they're gonna just like any, it's like an IV. They'll stick it in, and then they're gonna tape it down real good, and then they'll put another one in, just a little bit superior to that one, meaning above that one. And they'll tape that one down. Then they're going to twist the end of it's got a hose attached to it, and they're going to twist it just to make sure the blood is going to flow out. It's not, they didn't miss the area, or it's just flowing too slow. And then they'll go back over to the machine, which is already being all set up and ready to go. And they'll hook it up to the two lines that you have in. One is red, one is blue, one is arterial, and one is the venous. And the arterial is the furthest low one most of the time, and then the venous is above that. Hook it up, then they're going to put some, up here they put a clamp in the two hoses so that it doesn't get pulled out of your arm, and they put some tape down here, and then they put an extra piece over here, and they drag the two tubes over to here, put a piece of tape on it over here, and then start the machine. And that's how we started. I don't feel anything when they do. If I felt something, I would definitely let them know, because then something's probably wrong. After dialysis is started, my job's pretty much just to sit there and let them know if I'm having any issues. Issues would be shortness of breath, cramping, obviously nausea, vomiting they would probably see, dizziness, some other symptoms that you may have to report that very rare, but some people say that they're going blind because their blood pressure is going low and it affects their vision, or it makes their hearing kind of sound like they're underwater. So I'll say, I'm going blind, Mark, or I'm going deaf, Mark. I'm like, hold on, let me fix that for you. Put your feet up, get your blood pressure up a little bit. I'll recheck it. If it is, extremely low, then I'll give you some fluid, but that's all part of the treatment. Your job is just to sit there. A nurse will come by, and she's going to ask you if you've got anything to report, any pain, bleeding when you were home, cramping while you were home, and nausea, vomiting while you were home, diarrhea when you were vomiting, or at home, or if you, pretty much anything out of the ordinary that they should know about. Changes in medicines would be a big one too. If you're planning on going, you've been to the doctors, do you have any doctor's reports? But they're going to listen to your heart and your lungs, and probably squeeze your ankles and look at your legs to see if there's any swelling in there. And every 30 minutes, if you're doing this in center, every 30 minutes it takes a new blood pressure, and somebody comes by and checks that blood pressure and puts eyes on you. Meaning, you're always cold, so you have a blanket on. You're not allowed to cover up your access, because we got to be able to see it to make sure that there's no problems with it. And you can't cover up your face, because we got to be able to see your face and your eyes and your facial expression, because sometimes people will have seizures or pass out or worse. And we got to kind of know that that's happening. Afterwards, they rinse out the machine and give you that blood back. They push saline through it, and it gives you blood in through your access. And then one needle at a time, they pull that needle out. If you are able to, we suggest that you hold your site where it bleeds. We'll fold up a gauze, put it on there, and have you hold that. You'll put a glove on, and then we'll have you hold that for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. We'll peek at it every once in a while to make sure that it's not still bleeding, and then we'll just tape it down. Same thing for the second site. And then we'll get a sitting blood pressure. And then if that blood pressure is okay, if you're able to, we'll have a standing blood pressure. And if that blood pressure is above 100 and you say you feel okay, you're not dizzy, then we'll say, okay, let's walk over to the scale and let's get your weight again. So then we get your weight again, and the nurse or the technician knows your weight that you started with, knows the weight that you ended with, and puts that in the computer and makes sure that it matches. We have the dialysis machine set up to take off, we'll just say 3 kilograms. Well, if your beginning weight and your end weight aren't 3 kilograms, if it's 4 kilograms, then something's wrong with the machine probably. It took off more fluid than we were expecting it to, we wanted it to. Or if it only took off 2.5 kilograms, and we're like, well, where'd the other half go? If we can't explain it, like if we didn't have to give you fluid for lower blood pressures, maybe I gave you, half a pound of fluid or a pound of fluid. Probably not, but otherwise maybe the machine's malfunctioning too. So that's a lot of waiting, roughly 4-hour treatments, 3 days a week. And then when you're done, pick up your stuff. I hope you fold up your blanket. And if you're me, you go walk out to the car and drive home. Or if not, then, go sit in the lobby, wait for somebody to come pick you up, either, family, friends, or if you're stuck with that dreaded transportation, they'll be there eventually. All right, well, that's it again for tonight. We'll talk again another night. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments so that I can see them. I'll try to address them with you. And if you could, please subscribe or, ring the bell, hit a like. If you got anything worthy out of this that you think you'd want to listen to again next time, I would love to talk to you again. Good night.